Hi everyone. I'm representing my group to present our PLC PBL. So our topic is metal and non-metal sorting machine. So first of all, we use the ladder diagram and also the design to make our project to demo to our lecture. So here is our ladder diagram, and we used push button. We used two push button to start and stop. And secondly, we use the conveyor as an output and these push buttons as an input. And also we use the motor as an output to run the conveyor. And this inductive sensor is used to detect metal. So that's the function of inductive sensor. Also, we use the timer to control the progress. And we used a cylinder as an output, and we use two cylinders for this output, and another one I will show it again. And we also use the indicator, I mean the lamp as an output, so it's a metal indicator. And another input is capacitive sensor known as proximity sensor, so that it will detect an object that will pass through by the conveyor. So we place these two sensors at the conveyor. Later I can show it on the design. And here for this sorter, we use another cylinder. As I stated just now, we use the two cylinder. And also we use a non-metal indicator. I mean the another type of lamp. I mean as an indicator lamp. We use as an indicator. And so this is our ladder diagram. So let me explain about our ladder diagram. So let me run the simulation. Okay. First of all, this is our working progress. I mean the progress for run the conveyor. So we used P underscore one as a clock clock pulse to active the motor. So it will delay 1 second. I mean on of 1 second of the motor to run the conveyor. So the conveyor is attached to the motor. So the conveyor will stop and run like later we show in the design. So we use the timer 7 second. This 7 seconds timer is to once the inductive sensor is detected, it means metal pass through the sensor, then the inductive sensor will detect it. So once the inductive sensor is detected, the 7 second, it will take 7 seconds to turn on the cylinder, and also when the cylinder is turned on, and after 7 seconds, so the object will uh, the 7 second is the time taken from the sensor to the cylinder to get into the cylinder. So once it get into the cylinder will push the metal. At the same time, our metal indicator will light up. Okay, so here I used 7 second and 7 second. So this process, I mean the cylinder and metal indicator process will take 5 seconds. So it will like once the metal detected, so it will take 7 seconds to go to the cylinder, and the cylinder will push the metal into the storage box that is attached with the machine. So at the same time, the metal indicator will blink. So it will take 5 seconds to the process. And when the inductive sensor is still sensed, it will uh, loop the process. If the inductive sensor is still detected, so this process will loop for the several times. So let me show what will happen if the inductive sensor is detected. So here sensor is detected. But before that, when we notice start the conveyor, so once the conveyor notice start, we can't run the process because the process operation is depends on the conveyor. So before that, if we want to see the manual, we need to force on. So I don't want to force on, so I just start the conveyor. So the conveyor is start, the motor running, the conveyor also running. So once the inductive sensor is detected, you can see the cylinder and also the metal detector. The process is on looping, so you can see that. So with once the sensor is stop detecting a metal, the process will stop. And same goes to the capacity sensor. It working as a is known as a proximity sensor, which can detect an object. So here we're using a proximity sensor because uh, non-metal, non-metal, it can be anything, rubber, plastic, or anything. So we use the capacity sensor to sort that. So when the capacity sensor is detected, the same timing we use the 7 second and 5 second for the process, and the looping 7 second for this. So the cylinder and the non-metal detector, which is acting as a lamp acting as a non-metal detector, will start looping until this capacitive sensor uh, is stop detecting any non-metal object. So this is our our project, our PLC PBL project, which is sorting and sorting machine for metal and non-metal. So here now we as seen for the ladder diagram, and to be real, we did some simulation for the designing, so we can see some see clearly what we have did for this. So this is our design that we have made, and the addresses will be entered at serial A here, which we have entered at the ladder diagram, so it can interpret the simulation. So let me start the simulation. So the simulation will be on test mode. We can't simulate here. So this is our simulation. So it will automatically integrate here at the ladder diagram. So this one is our ladder diagram. Now we can see the process clearly here. So once we already simulated, we need to start the system. So once the system is started, both motor will turn on and the conveyor is running here. So once we keep anything just like metal, so for the metal here, we need to sense at the ladder diagram. So let me sense something like metal. Okay, let me sense. So in that sensor, the lamp will sense here. So the timing from this sensor to this cylinder is 7 seconds. 7 seconds, and once it reach the cylinder here, the metal will push the cylinder will push this metal into the storage box. At the same time of the cylinder functioning, the indicator will light up. It's a signal like the metal is detected and stored at the storage box. And same goes to the, and one more thing, as I stated just now, this process, I mean this cylinder push the metal to the storage box. The process will take 5 seconds. It's like 5 seconds to the cylinder push the metal into uh, the storage box. So the same thing. So let us do the off. Stop. If the system is stop sensoring, it will turn off the cylinder. Turn off the indirect sensor. Won't detect anything. So once the non-metal thing, if non-metal thing, it won't detect here, because inductive sensor is used to detect metal object like brass, metal, something like that. So it won't detect any plastic, rubber, things, such a things like that. So it will pass through. When the non-metal thing is passed through by this sensor, it won't detect anything, so it will pass through. So if the thing is not detecting, so the cylinder and the indicator won't light up, so it will pass through. So once it reach here, the object is reached here, the capacitive sensor is detected. Capacitive sensor is a proximity sensor, it will detect any object which is passed through by the sensor. So once it will detect, same process will happen like the things happened here. So once it detect, it will take 5 seconds. Sorry, it will take 7 seconds. 7 seconds from the sensor to reach the cylinder, and once it reaches the cylinder, it will push the non-metal object to the storage box. At the same time of the cylinder operating, the non-metal light indicates too. So once we stop, uh, the process will stop. And one more thing, so if we didn't start the system, the sensor can't detect anything, any object, and uh, pass through the sensor. I mean, the sensor cannot detect anything, and the process will won't 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 run here. So that's the thing. We put the conveyor operation in front of both sensors at the ladder diagram. So this is our simple uh, operation that we had made for this ladder diagram. Sorry, for this project, and this ladder diagram, and also the simple design that we made use by CX designer. That's all from us, and thank you.